Coming up this weekend, absolute bantamweight fire. We have Said Nurmagomedov, who's coming off of a tidy little 2-fight win streak, taking on another guy on a tidy little 2-fight win streak. It's my guy, the Pocket Rocket, not Henri Richard for you Montreal Canadiens fans. It's Douglas Silva de Andrade. And if you look at it for de Andrade, his last 2 fights, Gaetano Pirello brought in. He's a kickboxer. He's fun. He can bang. He walked forward with his hands down and got knocked out cold.
We did talk a lot of shit about Pirello.
By Douglas Silva de Andrade. And if you look at it in his last fight, listen, did Sergey Morozov have a good first round against him? You're darn tootin' he did. Did Douglas Silva de Andrade earn, and I'm not joking, his 28th pro win, but just his second submission win against a pretty damn good grappler? Yes, he did. Now, did he do it by the grappling? He did it because he knocked him down twice. But I look at it for Douglas Silva de Andrade. Is this the crescendo of his career, or is he just getting going? It's neither here nor there. It is a little bit later on. I mean, he's 37 years old at 137 pounds. And I mean, 136 pounds his last time weighing in. But if you look at it for D. Silva, I mean, this is a guy that is probably the most heavily bodied up guy for this division. So much so that he has experience at 145 in the UFC as well.
So what I really like about Silva de Andrade is that he realizes power is the last thing to go in a fighter. Whether you're a heavyweight or whether you're a flyweight, your power is always going to be the last thing that leaves you as an athlete. So as a 37-year-old, de Andrade decided, hey, I'm just going to make my power prevalent in every single one of my fights. Whether you're wrestling with him or whether you're striking with him, he does everything at 100% capacity, which is really interesting because, you know, at a certain point when he does fight one of those cardio kings, I was going to say cardio kickboxers, but one of those people who can really weaponize their pace, it is going to be tough for de Andrade to deal with that. And I always go back to the Rob Font fight, which does kind of show that because Font's able to just sort of pitter-patter at him from a distance, not really hit him with anything super clean, and then the second Andrade takes that extra step forward, he really makes him pay for that advance because with Andrade, he does like to really load up on his power shots. And at 135 pounds, I would argue that he is one of the more heavy-handed strikers in this division. But there is a negative that comes along with being so heavy-handed. And that's if you don't land all those shots, and if you're 37 years old, your cardio is going to start to fade in one of these matchups. And against a guy like Said Nurmagomedov, who can wrestle, who can strike, who can be defensively sound in every position, it's going to be very interesting to see what game plan de Andrade has in this fight. Because I gotta be honest, I really do think he's going to try to clinch Nurmagomedov a lot. You're probably thinking to yourself, really? You want to clinch Nurmagomedov? Hear me out. I think Silva de Andrade's best chance to win this fight is to make Nurmagomedov feel that physicality of him, wear on him in the clinch for at least as long as he can, because I really like the defensive grappling that de Andrade showed against Morozov his last time out. He really showed that the bigger, stronger Morozov couldn't just go in there and ragdoll him with his own style of grappling, so a little part of me thinks that de Andrade can have some success grappling with Said Nurmagomedov. The problem is, Nurmagomedov's coming off one of the more impressive ranked wins that we've seen over a top 15 opponent, or at least at the time Stamen was. So Nurmagomedov himself has never looked better than he has lately.
Yeah, and it's weird because if you look at it for Nurmagomedov, his lone loss in the UFC is to Raoni Barcelos, a guy who, when he was on and in a sweet spot, he had speed, he had power, he had wrestling, and everybody thought uncrowned champ, just like the whole Sean O'Malley thing, but nobody was saying it about Raoni, and he definitely wasn't saying it about himself. The other loss that Nurmagomedov has is back in 2014 over at the ACB Tournament Championship against Magomed Bibulatov that you saw in the UFC as well. And for Nurmagomedov, it's been an interesting run in the UFC. Obviously, has a win by split decision over Justin Scoggins in his debut, but those last 2 fights, Mark Striegel on short notice, finishes him on the way in, and then the last time Cody Stamen wants to wrestle, Said's going to submit him very quick in that first round, in the first minute. So you look at it for Nurmagomedov, quite frankly, I'm a big D. Silva guy. I'm always pumping him up. I talk about him quite a bit, but when I do look at it, I'm surprised Nurmagomedov didn't get a ranked opponent in this fight. I don't know what the scoop is here, because it's not like Douglas Silva de Andrade is some cult hero.
No, but I do like the fact that the UFC is rewarding him for such an exciting and important win his last time out. Because the majority of the time you would think, okay, a 37-year-old needs to win 8 fights before he gets a chance at a ranked opponent. I do like that the UFC is rewarding him for having such an impressive performance his last time out, because that's what it feels like this matchup is for him.
And it will be an interesting one. So you look at the odds, Nurmagomedov open -225, -250 right now for Silva de Andrade, open plus 190, plus 200. We have a look at the Topology votes. Surprise to us there to you. Matt, I did not vote for Douglas Silva de Andrade, so I'll get that one out of the way. I won't be one of those votes, but I'm going to say over-under, because again, I haven't seen it.
Wait, how do you not see it, but you voted for it?
I just said I didn't vote for it.
Oh, I thought you said I didn't vote for him. It still made it sound like you voted.
There's people out there that think that we sound too Canadian, so maybe I'll hit this one up with like a Californian accent too to throw it all weird. But Matt, what would you say for the votes out there, for the fans? I'm going to say over under 80% Nurmagomedov.
That's what I was about to say.
88% Nurmagomedov on 671 total votes. 45% by decision, 26% by submission, 23% by knockout. They're close. 12% that have Silva de Andrade, 45% by decision, and 40% by knockout. Matt, I think Said Nurmagomedov wins this fight in the in-betweens because he's so damn speedy. And when you look at Said Nurmagomedov, he has that complete mix of MMA where he can work in his own offensive takedowns, he can work in the defensive grappling, the submissions, and he really is an interesting striker when it comes to the range. He doesn't have to put full power into his shots, where Silva de Andrade, when he's whooshing in, when he's forcing himself in, he's not a guy that fights behind the jab. There's a lot of hooks in Silva de Andrade's game. The best part for me, if you like Pedro Munoz last weekend against Sean O'Malley, for better or for worse, there's a similarity there in the fact that to get into range, a lot of leg kicks, so you might like that out of De Andrade if you're a big fan of his. But for me, I just like Nurmagomedov in the in-betweens.
I don't think kicking Nurmagomedov's a good game plan whatsoever for De Andrade. So unless Andrade can really get his boxing go early in this fight, go into the body, go into the head, getting Nurmagomedov's back up against the cage. Because here's the thing. If Nurmagomedov gets De Andrade's back up against the cage, he's going to take him down. He's going to get on top of him. He's going to make this fight extremely ugly. Now, Andrade can do the exact same thing with his own forward pressure. It's just going to have success in a slightly different way. It won't be with his wrestling. It'll be a lot more with his own power shots. And maybe he can land a couple big shots on Nurmagomedov to make Said a little bit more tentative as this fight goes on. I just don't see it happening. I really do think Said Nurmagomedov, he's elusive enough on his feet to avoid some of those bigger power shots, and I do think that if he can fight in a reserved manner early, he can probably tire out Andrade as this fight goes on, and I do think that as this fight progresses, it's going to just favor Nurmagomedov even more.
Both of us going with Said Nurmagomedov to get the win. That means only one thing. There's the co-main event, Caio Borralho taking on Armand Petrosyan, and if you look at that main event, Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev in the battle of the same name, but there's pronounced different. Two big time fights. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.